is again your favorite Q&As, live Q&As session. So hit me up with your questions. Last time that was the hardcore edition, so please no hardcore today because my brain is getting a little bit fried, but I'll do my best to answer your questions. I'll stay only for 20 minutes today because I need to be somewhere at 6, so I need to really finish like 35 the latest and run. So use the time, ask your questions in the chat. I'll be happy to answer them. And 17:35, 19 minutes from now, I'm gone. So there is just one person now, so no questions coming, it seems, but that's usually like that. So more people start joining in a minute or two, and then it becomes more attractive and full of questions, full of answers. So whoever is the bravest today. Okay, Dennis Tuna. Hello, Jan, preparing my question. Wonderful. That's actually good that you write this because I know that I'm not just like talking nonsense to no one. So thank you for letting me know, Dennis. Arvinda, hi. Thank you for joining. If you have any questions, please write them down or up or in the chat or whatever, however it works. 5 people, that's good. So start the questions to come. Otherwise, I will be just weirdly singing and smiling and waving and doing this regular bullshit of mine. Qasim Yahuni. Is it true that chances to get student visa with internal evaluation is low compared to nostrification? Okay, that's the hardcore question. Well, it kind of depends on circumstances. First of all, we don't deal with similar scenarios too often. So what I will be saying is just like a general answer. But it kind of depends on what you're applying for in terms of like bachelor's or master's, because generally to study Czech schools, Czech universities, you need to have the diploma recognized, nostrified. So that's the standard way. If the school can evaluate it internally, but I believe the outcome should still be nostrification, but that also depends, because one thing in the student visa and in these cases, there are two things that go together. One is the immigration part, and that's the Ministry of the Interior and their look on things and their opinion. The other thing is like actually being accepted to the university, and there might be two different rules that kind of overlap. So I cannot tell you if it's like, definitely the nostrification is the way it should be done. And if the ministry wants the nostrification, then the internal evaluation might not be enough. But if the ministry does not specifically require nostrification, then the internal evaluation might be enough. So not sure if this helps, sorry. Hi Jan, thank you for the live stream. My pleasure, Ask a question if you have one. Dennis Tuna wrote a question and then deleted that. What happened, Dennis? Prayer 10, I have been waiting for appointment application date since previous date was February 14, 2025. When will the next appointment be available? So now, look at your question and try to put yourself into my shoes. I have no idea where you're from. I have no idea what embassy you try to get an appointment for. I don't know what type of visa or residence permit you're applying. So I cannot reasonably answer this question. So if you wanted me to answer the question, I would need to have all the details because it's different for every nationality, different embassy, different types of residence permits. But the one thing I can say is that you should always follow the instructions of the embassy. So definitely keep checking the website of the embassy and they will share the next available date there for sure. Oishik Chakraborty, do I need to translate my bank balance certificate for student visa? Generally, all the documents you'll be submitting should be in Czech. So by the law, yes, you have to translate it, official translator, court approved Czech translator. In real life though, the Ministry of the Interior usually accepts even not translated statements as long as it's kind of clearly visible that you are the owner and what is the amount of money there. But I would definitely not recommend relying on that, because by the law, all the documents you submit must be submitted in Czech language or with an official translation. So if you want to be like 100% sure, translate them. Travel with Malu couple. Is MOI considered stipend as regular income for support spouse visa? Honestly, I don't know. I was trying to like go through my mind and see if I could find the answer, but probably not. So unfortunately, I don't know the answer for this. But for a student, if you are a student, then you can choose if you want to submit a proof of income or proof of funds for your application, and the same for your wife. So we've had students who didn't have any income at all, and they were, for renewals, they were always submitting just bank balance document, and they kind of they dealt with that this way. So that's an option as well. Potentially, I could find out. It's definitely in the law, and it's definitely also at the website of the Ministry of the Interior if you know where to find it. But I don't know that from top of my head. I would need to find it out. MD Rabbi Howleder, mispronouncing for sure. Sorry for that. Hi sir, is there any minimum income limit in employment visa for bringing spouse and children? Yes, of course. You need to be making enough money to be able to support the whole family. The amount of money you need to be making varies and depends on the situation. But let's say roughly, to give you an idea, if it's you, your spouse, and minor kids, so below, let's say 15, then you need to be making, say, 14,000 crowns plus your accommodation expenses. So 14,000 crowns plus whatever you pay for the three of you for accommodation, and that should be at least your minimum salary. If the ministry does not know how much you pay, so for example, you didn't submit a lease agreement, but just the proof of accommodation, then they will calculate with some general amount. And I believe the general amount, again, I don't know from top of my head, because it changes also. So every time I look it up when we calculate this, but I would say it's 22,000 crowns for 3 people plus the 14. So 36 net income would be roughly the income you're looking for the family of 3. Prayer 10, I got a job in the Czech Republic. All the original documents have been sent to me, but I have not got an appointment date yet. Again, guys, when you finally start sharing these videos and my answers, so you all don't like fall into the same trap, before you ask anyone or you pay anyone to provide you with a work contract or like work permit or job contract, employment contract, always make sure that you will be able to get an appointment for submitting your documents. Because for example, in India, if you need to apply in India, meaning if you're Indian, Sri Lankan, Bangladeshi, Nepali, same goes for Pakistan, you basically can never get an appointment yourself for an employee card. So even if you have all the documents like 3 times collected, you will never get an appointment. So, or not in the foreseeable future. So that makes no sense to even gather the documents if you cannot use them. But this is something you should have asked before getting the employment contract and not after. Chamuki Bazuki, Jan, have you seen an increase in interest from Americans since Trump has taken office? Yeah, that happens always. Whoever wins because the US is kind of weird because you only have 2 parties. In the Czech Republic and in most countries, you have multiple parties, and then they build a coalition, and that changes next election, all that. So it's a bit more complicated from this perspective. In the US, it's like black or white. Either Democrats win or Republicans win. And whatever party you're at, you're always unhappy with the other. So whoever is the president of the US that always brings us clients, now I think like any person who's like at least a bit reasonable should leave the US now, or be unhappy with like how Trump is handling the presidency. But no specific increase, because like those who voted for Trump are still happy with his decisions, I guess. So they will not be leaving. Those who didn't vote for him are even more disgusted now. So they will be leaving the same way as they did before. So not like specifically now, but when he won, yes, that's always the case. So Dennis, you deleted that twice. So hopefully the third time it stays. Woman, EU citizen. Man, non-EU citizen with blue card. What is the citizenship of the baby when they have a child? Definitely not Czech. That's what I can say. Kids born in the Czech Republic do not get Czech citizenship automatically. If one of the parents is Czech, then yes. But they're not getting Czech citizenship if none of the parents is Czech. So definitely not Czech. Then the rest depends on the countries. Because some countries allow 2 citizenships, some countries don't. So in that case, you would need to choose the one you want. But it depends on your countries, basically the citizen of non-EU country with the blue card and the EU citizen. So it depends. I would kind of definitely go for the EU citizenship if you can, but it will not be a Czech one if one of the parents is not Czech. Hopefully this answers. XYZ, there is no letter from the ministry yet. How can I get more information regarding my application? Depends on what kind of information you want to know. You can go to the Ministry of the Interior in person and ask, but they will most likely not tell you much more than what you can see online. You could potentially send a letter requesting some specific information, but it depends on how, like what you applied for, how long it's been in process, and what exactly you want to know. Hey, I have already my Czech PR and I could apply for Czech citizenship in 3.5 years. I know it's still a long time, but any recommendations of things to start preparing with time until then? This is actually a good question, because generally this is ideally how it should be if you want to keep the stress level on the minimum possible rates or levels. Sometimes we get clients who like have 3 days before their visa expires and want to extend it now, which is fine. We can deal with that. I'm not saying like anything against that. We're happy for every client who comes. On the other hand, or at the same time, if you leave everything for the very last moment, it's definitely stressful for both sides or all the sides. Plus, sometimes it can even prevent you from getting what you're trying to get. So starting early is generally the best thing to do for any application you want to submit. For the citizenship, I would recommend 3 things that are the most important. I answered at the last time a similar question as well, but one thing definitely, the most important part of the citizenship application is being integrated into the Czech society. So I would definitely make sure that you get integrated as much as you can. That means like joining a local like football club or like some official institution, you know, not just that you start going to like play with your friends, but like some official football club or official other organization, Sokol, or, you know, whatever, but some like official organization where you maybe get a membership card or something like that. Then having some attachments to the Czech Republic or like some ties, like owning a property here or owning a company here, having a Czech child, having a Czech wife or spouse, all these things help. Being active in the elections you can vote for, like with the PR, there is not many, but you can, or getting active in some like initiatives or even organizing something yourself, you know. These things are important. Second would be your income, because you will be proven income for the last 3 years. So definitely make sure that you keep track of that and you can prove it either if you're self-employed, if you're employed, make sure that everything is fine there. And third thing is time you spent outside, because sometimes people say, okay, I will now be living 2 years in Germany, then I will have 10 years in total, so I can apply for Czech citizenship. But if you spend the last 2 years in Germany, that's not the strongest situation. So for the next 3 years, I would not recommend like moving anywhere like for longer period of time. Traveling is fine, but like the normal travels, you go for a weekend somewhere and then for vacation in the summer, but don't move anywhere for like 6 months or something like that. That would be my recommendation. The Great Archer. Hello, Jan, please enlighten me about the process of family reunification. Thank you. Okay, just a bit of enlightenment, because I've done many videos about this topic. So one thing is that there are two kind of general differences. First, family reunification per se only applies to couples where both of you are non-EU citizens. If one of you is an EU citizen, you apply for a temporary residence permit or the partnership visa. So that would be a completely different thing. But if you're both non-EU citizens, then you have basically two options. One would be a long-term visa with the family purpose of stay, which is easier to get. You just need to show enough money in your bank. It's faster to get approved. On the other hand, it's just for 1 year and you cannot work. Or the family reunification residence permit, which allows you to work. It can be given for up to 2 years. On the other hand, it might take longer to get, and you need to prove high enough income. So these are the biggest differences. But then if you're interested in more details, you can go to our website, movetoprague.com, to the blog section, or you can go to my channel wherever you get there and look for videos where I've talked about this in like very details. Abdul Bagi, I have completed MSA, MSc, MSc, nanoscience and technology. What type of job is good for me there? Well, the question is if you can ever get here. So that would be the first question I would ask. As I explained before, makes no sense to get a job offer if you can never get an appointment at the embassy where you need to apply. So I would first investigate about this, if you can actually even like if you have a chance to get here, and then I would start looking for jobs potentially. Kwasim Yahoni, I have acceptance letter for master program based on internal evaluation. Do you think the chances to get visa is low? This is just like really a guesstimation. I would say maybe you have lower chances, but it depends on all the other like circumstances. So it's very difficult for me to tell you now like, okay, your chances are 60% or 20% or 95%. Prayer 10, I have a job in the Czech Republic and I have insurance. Do I still need to get proof of funds alongside with me for job applications? What is the standard way you will recommend the way to apply for appointment? As for applying for an appointment at the embassy, you need to follow the rules given by the embassy, which are anyway given usually by the Ministry of the Interior anyway. But in some countries, you cannot get an appointment for an employee type of residence permit or employment card, let's say, employee card. So that would be the first thing to double check if you can ever even apply. If yes, then you can like, we can talk about how to get the appointment, but the first would be even like if you can get any appointment. As for proof of funds, if you have an employment contract, you usually don't need a proof of funds because your employment contract is the proof of your income. Travel with Malu couple, thank you. Will they consider income from multiple employers to support spouse visa, or should I show the income from single employer? I would say it depends on the type of employment you have, because if you say multiple employers, I would estimate that you have the DPP contract or contracts, and those will not be considered because DPP is not a form of employment. Because you are limited to 300 hours a year, which can be gone in basically 1.5 months or 2 months. So they will not consider that. If you have like HPP or DPC, then they will consider that and that's fine. Jorge Orellana, mispronouncing, sorry again. What is the earliest you can apply for a student visa? I don't think there is really a limit. And I would definitely recommend applying, meaning submitting the application at least 3 to 4 months in advance, like at least. If you submit the application a month before your course start, chances are pretty low you will get it in time. 2 months, chances are still pretty low. It can happen already, but low. 3 months, better than 2, but still not great. 4 months is like the reasonable time when you have pretty good chances of getting it approved. And then like submitting it 4 or 5 months in advance is fine as well. So like 5, 6, I mean. So I would probably aim for that, submitting the application at least like 4 or 5 months in advance. Please make pickleball popular in Czechia. I have no idea what pickleball is. So, and guys, one last question because I need to leave. As I mentioned, I can only do 20 minutes because I need to be somewhere else at 6. So, Fedi, that will be the last answer. Sorry for the rest of you. I would normally continue answering, but I really need to go today. So, Fedi, Kedira. Can I apply for Czech tourist visa while I'm waiting for an appeal regarding rejection of student visa? Is it wise, tourist visa, to take my stuff back from Prague? Well, yeah, those are 2 independent processes. So you can technically submit your short-term visa application if your long-term one was denied and now you're waiting for an appeal. Question is if it will be approved or not. Technically, it should not have any influence on that. Real life can. But yeah, you can, especially if you need to like bring or pick up some things from Prague and then leave. So yeah, technically you can. Okay guys, thank you very much for joining the live stream. Sorry that I couldn't answer all the questions. But I'll see you again some other time and I'll answer all the rest if you join again. So thank you very much guys for joining, and I'll see you again Monday, Thursday, until the end of the world. Bye bye.